time for our mind to just stop for a minute with over-analyzing things, doing things wrong, doing things right. You need to be doing this type of thing instead of this. Just like me postponing this YouTube video. What is this concept in our mind of like that it cannot be good enough, or that this is not good? Like you're doing it wrong. It should go a certain way. You have a way in your mind how it's supposed to go, and how you're doing it right now is certainly wrong, right? That's how we can think a lot of times. Or the conditions need to be perfect in order to start. These are all weird thought patterns that are like limiting us. Limiting us in just relaxing in life, basically. I know people can relate to this. I think almost everyone can relate to this. Why can't we just relax in life for a minute? Like, honestly. Our minds can be so fucking stressful all the time for... It has all kinds of good reasons to be stressful, but honestly, it just would be better if we could just relax with it. It's not that our problems will be solved. Like, it's making the problems itself most of the time. There are really no problems. Of course there are problems, alright? If your mom is sick or something like that, of course you have a problem, but it's also your choice how to view that. If you want to view that as a problem, okay. And to a certain degree, a lot of people are unconscious. And what I mean with unconscious is that they are not aware that they have a choice, I would say. And most of us are not aware that we have a choice in this life. And the choice is if we want to believe that we are these thoughts and that we are sort of in a victim mentality to these thoughts, or that we are in total control and that we are creating it ourselves. And this one can go pretty deep. Actually, it goes pretty deep, because everyone is in this, like, let's say everyone in the world, especially in the Western world, everyone is in this ego. And what is an ego? An ego is basically thoughts, beliefs about yourself, right? So if you think, okay, I'm Boris, who am I? Yeah, this is my age, this is my life, this is my life situation, I have this amount of money, I do this kind of job, this is what I want to achieve in my life, and this is what happened to me. Maybe there's things that happen to you, like all kinds of things. Maybe you're in your head busy with achieving a certain type of goal, or you view yourself in a certain way. And what this actually is just a thought pattern, a thought cluster of thoughts you think you are, right? And you live in them, you live through them. So you perceive the world through these thought patterns, and they judge everything around you, and you feel like you are getting judged by other people. So you feel like other people are maybe looking at you weird. So let's say you're on the beach, right? And you're in the morning on the beach in another country, and you want to do some yoga exercises on your own, and you feel like you're scared that other people are thinking stuff about you, and maybe you think like, oh, she's thinking that I'm weird, oh, she's thinking that, or he's thinking that that I'm not doing this stretch good, or I'm not good at yoga, or oh, this girl probably thinks that I'm unattractive. Like thoughts like that, you know what I mean? They pop into your mind, but you're creating it yourself because you don't know what they are thinking, right? And it doesn't matter what they are thinking because you don't know what they are thinking. It's all about what you believe, how you believe people view you. You can never know how people really view you. You can only think yourself about how people view you. It's never based on reality. So you ultimately are doing it yourself, right? So if you want to think that so if you, it goes unconscious, right? So you're on the beach doing yoga in this example, and you think like, oh, people think I'm weird. You don't know if people think you are weird. And actually, if people thought you were weird, it doesn't really matter, because it's only about what you think that other people think about you. You never know. It doesn't matter what they think, because you're creating it yourself. You understand what I'm saying? You understand? You're following it. So it's all about your inner thoughts, and it feels like people are judging you, and there's a whole world outside of us that is doing things, but it's all an inner process of thinking, an inner process of thoughts about yourself. You're creating a character that maybe you're creating a character, and in this character you're really struggling with anxiety. You really feel a lot of fear, right? You are creating the character in your mind about who you are, and what this ultimately is just a bunch of beliefs, and a voice in your head that is telling you about the world outside of you, about how people are thinking about you, and it's about you all the time, basically, and about how you think about other things, how you judge. Oh, that guy is overweight. Oh, that girl is unattractive. Oh, that girl is beautiful. It may be true, but you have these judging thoughts about other people, and you have these judging thoughts about yourself. You're ultimately creating an entire story about the world around you, about who you are yourself. And the amazing part is that you can completely let go of this. You are allowed to completely let go of this system of thoughts. And you don't have to fight against it to get rid of it. You don't have to fight against life to finally be good enough. That's just a thought pattern in your mind that you're not good enough at this moment. And as long as you have this thought pattern in your mind that you're not good enough at this moment, you will never be good enough, because it's always this moment. And there is no other moment. The other moment you refer to is maybe a moment where you feel good enough to be yourself. And in that moment, there's just an absence of this thought that you're not good enough. That's what we are looking for. We are not looking for... Okay, so this is an interesting one. We are looking for something in the outside world. Most of the time. We are looking for 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. We are looking for a nice car. We're looking for a girlfriend. We're looking for money. A lot of people are looking for money. Everyone is looking for something. But what they really are looking for is the absence of the thought that they are looking for something. This thought is just looking for the end of itself. That's the paradox about it. This thought is looking for the end of itself. It's looking for the absence of thoughts. Because when you don't think, when there's an absence of thoughts, there's a peace. It's light. The state of being is very light. It's completely present, right? It's completely present in the perceiving of these things around us. It doesn't have to judge, because there are no thoughts. So there's also no judgment. There's just a simple state of being, of seeing. And why we are looking so much into the outside world to give us something, we feel like we are lacking something, we don't feel safe. We need to get somewhere, or mostly we need to get rid of something so we can finally feel good enough. That was a big one for me. So I need to get rid of this fear I need to get rid of these annoying feelings in my body so I can finally relax. But that's just you resisting them. That's just you resisting these feelings. So the problem is ultimately the resistance towards the feelings. Because if there was no resistance towards the feelings, and there was no resistance towards all the negativity you may feel or you may think, then it's just what it is. And by fighting against it, you are holding on to it. And you are creating it because you're fighting against something. So you are creating the something in the very moment you are fighting it. If you wouldn't be fighting the something and you wouldn't be thinking about the something you are fighting, there wouldn't even be a something. Okay, maybe that can be very unclear because what is this something? Let's say this something is, let's say insecurity. This something is an insecurity. So you are an insecure person in social situations. Well, everyone can be insecure in social situations. So let's say you are struggling with insecurity. Well, you believe that you are struggling with insecurity, let's put it that way. And then when you're going to a social situation, you're like, oh, I hope this insecurity and I hope this anxiety won't come up. I hope it really doesn't come up. I hope it really doesn't come up. So before you go to the event, okay, you're at the event. Oh my God, I feel so, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but I want to feel like I know what to say. I want to feel good. I want to feel social, but I'm just not that social right now. And I need to get rid of these thoughts. I'm so insecure, blah, blah, blah. If you compare that insecure person's thought patterns to the person who is socially confident, social confidence or confidence is silent. When you're confident, there are no thoughts like, okay, I'm so confident right now. You see how I'm moving. I'm super confident. Real confidence is just silent. You're just being present in a conversation, and there are no bothering thoughts about you not being confident. And when you compare that to the insecure person on the other side, he is thinking all the time that he wants to be confident. And because he wants to be confident, and he needs to be confident for himself, because that means that he is not good enough right now. And that means that he is not confident right now. So he is creating this unconfidence and this social anxiety and this fear just by thinking that he is that way. So he's literally creating the social anxiety in the moment itself. And that's just one way of thought patterns that we are creating. So now we talked about thoughts a little bit and about how you're creating thoughts, just shortly. But then you ask yourself how you can get rid of these thoughts, right? Because I'm talking about a state of presence. You know that when you don't think too much about negative things, and if you don't think too much about yourself and judging and fear and social anxiety and all these things, that there's a feeling of peace. And we want to get to that state of peace. And I would say it has a lot to do with just relaxing into life. And it's easier said than done, because with most people, and with myself as well, there was so much stuck emotions and stuck fear and thoughts between this, that if you would say to me like, okay, just relax in life, that I was too deep in it. A lot of people are too deep into the pain, too deep into the identification with these negative thoughts about themselves and about the world, that they just cannot really relax. So that's not really good advice, honestly. And when people say think positive thoughts, it's also not good advice, because when you're fucking struggling with fear and you think you're gonna die, and people say, oh, just think positive thoughts, you're not even aware that you are thinking negative thoughts, because it's just a reality for you. So just thinking positive thoughts is honestly the shitty advice. If you're deep in it, like I was, like deep into a fear, deep into a depression, deep into a shitty state of thoughts, like I'm really talking to people who are like deep in it, then you just cannot think positive thoughts. It's not working. It's just a way of resisting the negative thoughts. Honestly, the only thing you can really do when you're ready for it is just let it come in. Just go into the feeling, just go into the fear you are always so badly resisting all the time. Because what you are doing is you are resisting it, constantly resisting it, and that creates the suffering. You resisting this fear, you resisting these feelings, you resisting this depression is sort of creating it, let's say, but it's also keeping it alive. So when you're ready for it, it's time to fully feel it. Feel the feeling, feel the negative feelings in the body that these years of limiting thoughts and negative thoughts have been creating. It leaves shit in the body. If you've been fearful and having panic attacks and you haven't been able to heal yourself from it, it's stored in the body and you can feel it right now. It can be a tension in the throat, there can be a tension in the chest. It can be painful even. So we don't get rid of it by not thinking about it. We don't get rid of it by wanting to get rid of it. We don't get rid of it by trying to keep ourselves busy. We don't get rid of it by trying to think positive thoughts. We don't get rid of it by trying to meditate. We don't get rid of it by doing yoga. The only way we can get rid of it is fully surrendering towards it. The only way out is through. So if you're struggling with pain, maybe you're struggling with trauma, I know how it is. I know how fucking difficult, how fucking shitty it can be. The only advice I have for you is to go through it. Because, or you can live an entire life with running away from it, with maybe distracting yourself in a job, distracting yourself in a relationship, with drugs, with alcohol. Why do you think so many people are fucking drinking alcohol all the time? You can distract yourself all your life. You can take medication for it. You can go that route, the normal route. You can go to a doctor. You can go talk about your problems. You can think you can do all these things, but ultimately it's there for you to face it. It's there for you to go through it. And when you realize what's on the other side of that, well, you're gonna become, let's say, a very spiritual person. Not gonna talk too much about that state, because otherwise you're gonna make concepts about this nice state of being. Go through the pain, breathe through it. Breathwork was a very big one for me. Really helped me to breathe with it, breathe through it, but not breathe against it. Breathe with life, be with life, not resist it anymore, let it be. And then these feelings and these fears and these fucking annoying emotions which you've been running away from for so long and which you've been fighting for so long, and when you finally surrender to it and you finally go into it, they can learn you what needs to be learned. They can transform you in a way you were never able to think about. And you can let go of these limiting beliefs and you become a new person. Well, you become a new being, I would say, because you don't want to get too big into the being a person again, because then you're going to have a lot of personal problems. Well, I feel like I should round it up, because I feel that's good enough. But for everyone, encourage you to stop resisting it. Just be with it. Also with the fear, also with anxiety, also with the small things, with the social anxiety. Just be with it, breathe with it, and feel where it is in the body, and then it can finally teach you what you needed to be taught for so long. See you guys later.